I don't think I was soundly saved, at least until March '07. So I'm relatively young in the faith. I grew up in a home where my mom was a very faithful believer, but my dad at the time, you know, and I think he would admit this, and if you see this, Dad, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, not Christian, just basically, you know, yeah, I'll go to church with the wife, you know, I'll go when I need to, whatever. And I got baptized once, like, I don't know, 12, and I know I was doing it basically just because, you know, I wanted to, you know, please my mom and dad, and, you know, do what, I guess I know, you know, they wanted me to. The thirst for the word, the desire to know God, there were inklings of it at the time. You know, so I went through five years of college. I remember feeling that kind of, those little seeds, if you will, from my youth kind of swelling and growing, sprouting a tiny bit. I was up here at grad school for a year. I was in a relationship with a woman, you know, the whole time swelling conviction that what I was doing was not right, and that the guilt was just ramping and ramping up and ramping up and ramping up. It got to the point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. I ended the relationship, and it couldn't have been more than a couple of weeks later. I was in a classroom doing my student teaching at Scappoose High School. I walked around the classroom, checking on the kids and stuff, and I was stopped and talked to this one girl. She was telling me how her grandmother died on the operating table in the hospital, and she'd seen Christ, and Christ said, it's not your time yet. The grandmother, you know, came out of it and, you know, told the story to her granddaughter, and I always feel a little strange saying this, but it's the truth. But at that moment, you know, in that classroom, not like a vision, but like, you know, like kind of an image in my head. I saw a silhouette of Christ between two like rows of trees, and then like a hill behind him, and then you know, the sun rising up over that. My faith went from those kind of little seeds, that intellectual foundation, to this like, oh wow, it's real. Like Jesus is real, God is real. This, like, it totally changed my perspective. It was no longer an intellectual thing of saying I believed. It was like I truly, fully believed now. Like it's real, it's the truth. And I remember going home and telling this to my mom, and she's like, start reading the Gospels. And my curiosity grew, and almost from the very beginning of this time, I really had a desire to know how to evangelize, share your faith, if you will, and just felt so impacted by seeing people do it. So, you know, now I've been doing, you know, researching evangelism and apologetics and stuff like that, and it's become a tremendous passion. I've talked to Dave about it. He says, well, it is a believer's baptism. You know, if you didn't feel like you really believed, then there wouldn't be anything wrong with that. And I just felt more and more like I should do it, just out of an act of obedience. So that kind of brings us up to where we are today. God's taught me a lot in the way of, you know, trying to be humble and patient, and reflecting on my own life, especially like Matthew 7:21 through 23, about, you know, not everyone who calls me Lord, Lord, you know, will be saved in it. And that verse has had so much impact on me. It's just, it's terrifying for me to think that I was at that point at one time, and that there are people, you know, all over the place that, you know, will say Lord, Lord, and not be saved. Unfortunately, you know, a lot of people are going to be caught in that position, and I don't want that to happen to anybody. So whenever I can, try and I guess, you know, help